yet. I'm giving this testimony from United Kingdom. I was first introduced to NSPPD Altar of Fire by a friend who, on one of those occasions when you say share the link, he must have shared the link with me on the 25th of April 2024. And I remember listening to it only because it was him. I don't usually listen to things like that. Anyway, I listened to it and I remember thinking, oh my God, this man shouts. My God doesn't shout. I can't deal with this. And I went off it, and the Lord said, listen beyond the shouting and don't condemn or judge my prophets. As soon as the Lord said that, I went back. So I've been dipping in and out of the prayer altar, but around November last year, the Lord said to me, you will be going there regularly from 2025. So I did that. Being on the altar since last year has strengthened my prayer life and my faith. So the testimony I want to give is around a cardiac event that happened on the 23rd of February. It was after the church service. It was a Sunday after the church service. One of the sisters at church shared about an issue she was having with the servicing of her car and all the problems that had been arising around it. And as she was telling me all of it, I just felt there was a spiritual attack. I rebuked the enemy and I reversed everything that he was doing. And that was it. We prayed and laughed about it, and we left. On the drive home, which is about 10 minutes or so after we said this prayer together, I had the most excruciating chest pain I've ever had. It was a tightening pain around my chest, radiating into my jaw and to my neck, and I could hardly breathe. I'm a medical doctor by profession, and so is my husband. He's a GP. And I remember as soon as it started, I knew what the enemy was trying to do. And I was just repeatedly saying, by his stripes I am healed. And I said the O earth prayer. My husband was saying, are you all right? And I said, I'm not, but I'm healed in the name of Jesus. We got to maybe about 10-15 minutes after that, and it took another 5 minutes for the pain to settle down. My husband then said, can we call an ambulance? I know you're healed, but can we call an ambulance so at least they can check you out? And normally I would have said no, but I knew for his peace I needed to do that. And I also wanted the evidence that I was healed. The ambulance didn't come for another maybe 45 minutes to an hour. They did the heart tracing, which was normal, which is surprising because I have been several years on treatment for hypertension. This is a perfectly normal heart tracing. My blood pressure was a little up when they came. It settled shortly after, but they insisted I went to the accident and emergency, which was fine. So when the accident and emergency for 5 hours, we didn't leave the accident and emergency until 8 p.m. that day. And by the time they did the troponin blood test, which is what they would normally do, it came back normal. To no surprise to me. I knew I was healed, but I knew what had happened. So when we finally saw a doctor after all the tests, he said to me, well, so when you had the pain, what did you do? I said, I prayed. And he looked at me as if I was crazy. And I went, yeah, I prayed. And he went, and they said, well, it does sound like you might have had some event of some sort, but there's nothing supporting it right now. So maybe it was indigestion. At which point I looked at him and said, we both know it wasn't indigestion. So let's not even go there. And then he said, well, just in case, I'll give you some medications for indigestion, to which I said, no, I'm healed. Thank you very much. Can I go home? And we left, and I was fine after that. It wasn't until the next morning that I connected the dots. Because I had rebuked the enemy the day before, because I had cut short what he'd planned to obstruct this lady from serving the church that she was going to go and serve. It was like the snake jumped out of the fire to bite me. But by the grace of God and with the power behind the prayers, the O earth prayer, I am living to tell the tale today. Now, I didn't want to give this testimony because I just felt there was no evidence of a cardiac event. But I'm a medical person, and my husband was with me. We both know what it was. But there was no evidence because the Lord reversed it. And I just wanted to say thank you, Pastor Jerry, for what you do, for how you stand for people. I will not even pray that may the oil never run dry over your head, because I know my Father will continue pouring that oil over your head for as long as you're letting it flow. Just keep letting it flow. Thank you so much. We do pray. It is show.
And as we video celebrate our God. Celebrate. Celebrate.